In the coastal town of Kotor, where the sea meets history, stories of legends are whispered. But there's one story that captures everyone's attention, a journey from rags to feared reputation. Join us as we explore the dark world of Radoje Zvicer, a name that left a mark in the shadows. Radoje Zvicer was born on December 20th, 1982 in Kotor, Montenegro. Though details about him are scarce, he's often seen as a prominent figure in the Montenegrin Mafia. In the shadowy recesses of the criminal world, an underworld organization thrives, its influence so vast and pervasive that it stretches all the way to the remote corners of Serbia. They don't just deal in drugs, tobacco, or weapons, they dominate these illicit markets. The once sleepy town of Kotor transformed dramatically in the 2000s, becoming a pulsating heart of criminal activity. Men like Darko Saric and Dragan Dudi Frick didn't just lead. They orchestrated masterminding vast networks to transport cocaine from the dense jungles of South America straight to the hungry streets of Europe. It was in this tense atmosphere that Zvicer, a young man from the gritty, poverty-laden streets of Kotor, found himself entrapped. The allure of the underworld was too potent to resist. By the 1990s, he was ensnared by the Pink Panthers, not just any criminal group, but one renowned for their audacity, specializing in heists that targeted luxury jewelry. For Zvicer, this was more than an induction. It was a baptism into a treacherous life of crime. In the early 2000s, whispers arose about Zvicer, hinting at a life draped in shadow. Switzerland had him in custody by 2001 following a brazen robbery. Yet, by 2009, with the concrete evidence slipping through their fingers, he was released. This twist of fate was a pivotal moment, redirecting his path towards the gleaming skyline of Dubai. Here, Zvicer dabbled in construction and amassed wealth in myriad ways. While it seemed like he was turning over a new leaf, old habits lurked beneath the surface. The power void left by the assassination of Kotor Group's senior leaders propelled Zvicer to the helm. The streets whispered of two new factions, Kavak and Skaljari. These names became synonymous with terror in Montenegro and across Europe, their hands stained with illicit trades, drugs, tobacco, and weaponry. 2010 saw the fall of Dragan Dudi, a linchpin in the Kotor Group. But every power vacuum births a new contender. With the Saric clan's empire crumbling post the Balkan warrior operation, Zvicer's ascent was meteoric, making him an undisputed kingpin in Montenegrin crime circles. Then there's Marko Vukovic, the notorious Skaljari chieftain, and the so-called godfather to Zvicer. Together with a motley crew from the Balkans, they ventured into Slovakian territories, founding the Nitra Project Group. This migration wasn't just about business, it was the continuation of a deadly feud. The battles between Kavachi and Skaljari, named after Kotor's regions, spilled onto Slovakian grounds. Soon, key players, including Zvicer's wife Tamara and his brother Goran, were entrenched in Slovakia's business scene. Tamara, no stranger to entrepreneurship, had her roots deep in Kotor's enterprises. As the Balkan shadows grew longer in Slovakia, the government rallied, launching operations to curtail the menace. But just like a mirage, every time they seemed within grasp, the culprits slipped away, leaving behind a trail of mysteries and legends. In the underbelly of the city, Zvicer was a name whispered with fear. Notorious for his dealings in drugs and a history steeped in violence, he was a wisp of smoke, always slipping through the fingers of authorities across nations. Then, a revelation sent ripples across this dark underworld. Tamara Zvicer, his own kin, spoke of an attempt on her life back in 2016. Instantly, all eyes darted to Jovan Vukotic. But when Marko Vukotic met a tragic end, whispers grew louder. Could Zvicer have had a hand in it? Many believed he had partnered with Jovan Jovanovic, concocting a deadly plan. However, in a gripping turn of events, the police swooped in, preventing another act of violence. Diving deeper into their pasts, it was unveiled that once, Zvicer and Marko Vukotic were partners in crime. A deal gone awry, a significant sum vanished, and trust shattered. Rumors had it that Marko, feeling the sting of betrayal, turned informant against Zvicer. Seething with rage, it said that Zvicer conspired with Jovanovic to retaliate. But law enforcement was always one step ahead. With Tamara's disclosure, the murky water of their relationships became a tad clearer. While Zvicer was a mastermind in eluding capture, the attempt on Tamara was seen as a message, a stark warning from Marko's allies. In this shadowy world, lines blurred between friends and foes, leaving everyone questioning, who can you really trust? Serbian police authorities found evidence linking Jovanovic to the brutal murder in 2020 involving Marko Vukovic, a leader in a clan war, in front of a primary school as he went to pick up his children, which implicated Zvicer through various investigations. Montenegrin authorities also suspected that Zvicer and others organized the assassination of criminal rivals Alan Kotor and Damir Hadzic in 2020. These events are linked with complex clan conflicts and suspicions of murder planning, with Zvicer frequently implicated in the planning and execution of these crimes. A chill lingered in the air as the Montenegrin prosecutor's office unveiled a disturbing revelation: 1.4 million euros, the staggering price for 2 lives. Darko Saric, not just a name but a shadow in the underworld of crime, notorious for drug smuggling, had reportedly delved deep into the perilous world of clan feuds. With the Kavak clan banner flying beside him, Saric's past was tainted with 9 years behind bars for cocaine smuggling. Though whispers of money laundering and assassination plots surrounded him, concrete ties to Radoje Zvicer, the enigmatic leader of the Kavaki clan, remained elusive. Zvicer wasn't just a leader, he was the puppet master. With 13 of his faithful by his side, they cast a dark cloud over Montenegro with sinister intentions. Nikola Stanisic, a name from the rival Skaljar clan, found himself ensnared in their web. Under Zvicer's calculated guidance, they had eyes everywhere, tools that saw from the shadows, and methods to erase their tracks. In their ruthless quest for Skaljar secrets, Stanisic paid the ultimate price. Yet the Kavaki's hunger for dominance wasn't satiated. In the midst of mourning, they aimed their sights on Jovan Vukotic, plotting to strike at the funeral of his comrade, Alan Kotor. Alan, once the helm of the Bar clan, met his end on the distant shores of Corfu in 2020. But fate had its play when the police intercepted whispered conversations from the clandestine Sky app, unveiling Kavaki's next move. Zvicer was like a ghost. No matter how hard police from different places like Kosovo and Austria tried to catch him, he always slipped away. People began calling him the Balkan Houdini, because just like the famous magician Houdini, Zvicer always managed to disappear. Everyone whispered about Zvicer and his friend, Slobodan Kalin. They led the Kavak clan, a group of people known for doing bad things. Zvicer was like the boss, the main guy. He planned big crimes like smuggling drugs and hurting those who went against him. Yet the police couldn't prove much. In 2020, a court in Serbia finally made a move. They said Zvicer had done something wrong with some papers. But here's the thing. Zvicer wasn't even there. They decided he was guilty and said he needed to spend 29 months in jail. But, like always, Zvicer was nowhere to be found. Radoje Zvicer stole the identity of a certain Slobodan Zek who had been living abroad for years and had never produced Serbian documents. It wasn't the only stolen identity that the Kotor resident had used. He also traveled to Europe in 2019 with the name Josip Babi from Radoje, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And there, with the assistance of that country's police, he assumed the identity of a man who had been living overseas for years and had never taken out documents from Bosnia and Herzegovina. The story of the clever Kavanin, who was elusive because he had a sixth sense and always manages to narrowly avoid the police, appeared in the media regularly. Zvicer was known for escaping trouble, but things changed in 2020. He was hiding in a fancy part of Kyiv, Ukraine, because his wife had a business there. They were living quietly. But on May 26th, while Zvicer was out for a run, some men tried to hurt him. They were from a group called the Skaljar clan, and they shot at Zvicer and hurt him badly. Just when it looked really bad for Zvicer, his wife Tamara stepped in. She shot at the men, making them run away. They got caught later. After this, Ukraine sent Tamara and Zvicer back to where they came from, Montenegro. Back in Montenegro, Zvicer didn't hide. He even invited some people over in February 2021 and acted like nothing happened. Zvicer's bad business started facing problems. An app named Sky got hacked. This app had messages that showed Zvicer was involved in selling drugs and had hurt people. Because of these messages, police in Serbia and Montenegro found out about officers who were helping Zvicer and getting money from him. Then, there were changes in Montenegro's government. They wanted to stop crime. So, people who helped Zvicer, including judges and police, were put in jail. In Serbia, his friends were arrested too. Some police who were working with him were fired. Everything was changing for Zvicer. Zvicer was caught up in the never-ending pursuit of justice. Police across Europe were looking for him because he was involved in many bad things, like planning to harm people named Alan Kotor and Damir Hadzic. But slowly, the people and things that helped Zvicer started to fall apart. He had to leave Montenegro when his friends in Serbia got caught. There was talk that Zvicer was hurt in Panama, but that story wasn't true. People guessed he might be hiding in places like South America or South Africa. But when the news said he was killed in Panama, Zvicer's family lawyer Vladimir Zaric said it wasn't true. What do you think about Radoje Zvicer's story? Take part in the conversation by leaving a comment below. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you found this content valuable. Click here to watch the story of the Serbian Mafia.